I believe Bill is a narcissist. As far back as I can remember, Bill's always been about himself. Most of our lives, Bill's always blamed everything and everyone else for his problems. It is always poor Bill and never his fault. Bill definitely has a bad temper. I've seen him punch things, break things, kick things, put his head through a window. I remember mostly my brother being mean to me growing up. There were times that he would just beat me up for simple things. There were points where I had to run into the kitchen and actually pull a knife to stop him from coming after me. Bill definitely puts his romantic relationships in front of his family. He always needs the constant attention. My brother and I do not have a good relationship at this point. We got into a pretty bad fight a few years ago. He told me that I was the reason that my girlfriend had committed suicide. I started screaming, "How dare you say that?" My daughter was sitting right there on the couch next to me. And there was an easel, and I was just like, "Get out," and I pushed it at him, and it bumped him in the head. He just came at me like a bulldog, like charged me in, and he just punched me on the side of the face. It was crazy to me because here he is in my house in front of my daughter accusing me of being the reason that her mother had committed suicide, and then he's out there telling the police that basically I started this, which is unbelievable to me. For me, it is unforgivable. I haven't had a real relationship with Bill in 3 years. His own children don't talk to him. I was very surprised that he reached out to Dr. Phil. It's hard for me to tell what his motives are. I don't trust him.
Well, that's Tom. So what's Bridget have to say? Well, she says her relationship with her dad is non-existent at this point because of his volatile behavior.
My dad has narcissistic tendencies. It's all me, me, me. I believe my dad likes attention, good or bad, anything he can get. My childhood was very negative and there was a lot of fighting. We were always on eggshells. We never knew what dad we were gonna have walk through the door. He would yell and he would throw things. He would instill such big fear in us by the way he blew up and destroyed the house. He would intimidate us. I gave my dad an ultimatum. I said he has to pick me or he has to pick his girlfriend. Unfortunately, he picked his girlfriend. It destroyed me. That was the woman he cheated on my mother with. Later, he trapped me at my car and was like screaming at me and yelling at me. And I had opened the door and kind of pushed his car and tried to get him to get away from me. And he had gotten out and hit my car door and window several times and hit my side mirror and broke it. He terrified me in that moment, and I realized that I wasn't his main concern, as a daughter should be, and I was done. I have not seen my dad for over a year. My father is all alone, unfortunately. It is his own fault.
Bill's always had a problem with alcohol since we were kids. He was always drinking and smoking weed, and as far back as I remember, he would just get drunk, and he would be a bad drunk. He would make people worry because he would always bring you down. He would always be mad about something, and he tried to fight me on occasions just because he said that I always thought I was better than him. If he was drinking and he was out somewhere, you knew it was trouble.
Well, Bill was actually the one to write to me for help, desperate for answers as to why he behaves the way that he does, and he's not been listening so far. Let's take a look at what Bill has to say.
I wrote into the Dr. Phil show. Felt like I was at the end of my rope. I had no one in my life. I felt like I couldn't take it.
I get asked about this a lot, and I'm talking about narcissism.
I've heard Dr. Phil's Fill in the Blanks podcast on narcissism. It made me realize I could be a narcissist. When someone says something that hurts my feelings, I tend to lash out and say stuff that might hurt their feelings. I can be selfish. Part of being a narcissist is never being satisfied. Enough is never enough. When it comes to food, when it came to alcohol, when it came to drugs, I have no doubt I caused the downfall of my marriage. I cheated on my wife. When I get angry or my ego's hurt, I do have a tendency to lash out. Tongue is a sword. I know how to use it. I would yell, curse, scream. At times I would exhibit these behaviors with my daughter. Sometimes I would come home and break things. My anger issues have caused relationships with people, relationships with women to end. I don't have a good relationship with my daughters. It's been more strained. People I grew up with, they no longer want to talk to me. I do feel like an outcast. I'm alone. I live at home by myself in the house. I raised my kids and my wife for 18 years. I caused all the damage in my life. I tell myself I'm a piece of... I'm scared of Dr. Phil's reaction to what I've done, but I need someone to be brutally honest.
I definitely think Dr. Phil should be hard on Bill. He definitely needs someone to kick his ass into shape. I hope Dr. Phil can make him accountable for his actions.
I'm disappointed that Bridget isn't on the show. I would love to have a relationship with my daughters. I mean, they mean the world to me. I would love to have a relationship with my brother where we can get together and spend time. Everything in my life, I destroyed it. For whatever reason, my life is another mess right now.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.